For both of you, and just wondering, my cameras caught a lot of Todd interacting with players throughout the game. How different were things on the bench here tonight?
Yeah, quite a bit different, obviously. A lot of communication from Todd, telling us what he wants to see. And it's good. It only speed up the message that he's trying to get across, speed up the way he wants us to play. And yeah, the communication is good.
How he wants you to play different than the way you were playing before?
Well, it's only been about 8 hours of being around him, so I think we'll get a couple practices in, and I'll be able to give you a better answer.
Lucas, it seemed like even though you were down 3-0 in the first period, you had more jump and more energy. But then in the second, just what went wrong? You think in the second that wasn't the same?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I felt like we had a lot of chances throughout the entire game. I felt like we got rewarded in the third, but they executed a little bit better than us tonight. I felt for sure we had a different jump, which was a good feeling. Obviously, it's never fun losing 5-2, but it was a different feel and something to build off of.
And when things have struggled so much near the halfway point, what's the onus on players to try and turn things around?
I'd say most of the onus is on the players. Individually, all of us have to perform better, maybe even get out of our comfort zone a little bit, do something that we don't normally do, play a little different style when things aren't going well. So it's on us, it's on the guys in the room. You know, you can have the greatest coach of all time back there, but if the guys aren't willing to do it or buy into it, it doesn't matter. So it's on the guys in the room.
It's part of the frustration too. I mean, last time the Leafs were here, you guys probably had your best game of the season. Like, you've shown glimpses of how competitive you can be, and but not consistently.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
But not only being around Todd for maybe 8 hours today, how different, how strange was it to play a game in that kind of situation where you don't have kind of a complete message, I don't know, game plan?
Yeah, obviously there's it's a lot for one day, you know, a complete change of voice. Behind the bench, you know, it's a lot for a game day, but like you saw out there, the energy of the team was up. Maybe how organized or what we looked like was maybe out of sorts a little bit, which is understandable. But the first thing, the most important thing is the energy of the team, and the spirit of the team is up, and you can see with that you can make a lot of things happen. You can make a lot of changes if the guys are invested and interested, and I think this group is.
I think everyone who talked this morning used that word spirit and talking about how big a part of Todd's message, I guess, has that been, that word?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when things have gone how they've gone for us lately, it can be tough, you know, coming to the rink, and it's not a lot of fun when things aren't going well. And so getting that back in the room, getting some energy and some life in there, make every day, you know, more exciting, and guys are excited to come in and get to work. So it's we got a lot of work to do here.
Lucas, to your point, it never feels good to lose 5-2, but how important was it to get those 2 goals at the end, get some positive momentum, and carry that forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting one on the power play. You know, I think it was a good power play day. I think we executed well, and I mean, obviously get a second one too. It's tough coming into a third period like that, but you know, we said go out, win the period, and you know, take away something positive, and I think we did that.
Lucas, your new coach has a reputation for juggling lines a lot, and there was a lot of different combinations tonight. As a player, how does that balance? Obviously keeps you on your toes, but you also want to build chemistry with guys too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Ben said, right? Like, yeah, everything's brand new. I think most of us has played with each other in different combinations, so you know, I don't see that as a big issue. We got guys that can play up and down the lineup and play with different guys, so you know, I think we feel comfortable there, and yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Todd, setting aside the end result for a second, how did it feel to be back behind the bench here in Detroit?
Well, I think the result always dictates the, you know, the way you feel at the end of the night. That's really not about how I feel. It's probably more important about how the players feel and what they thought about the night as a whole. But for Trent and I to get our feet wet with the group, kind of figure out how the bench reacts to certain situations, the emotional level, seeing the team play at a certain pace. When you're not on the bench, you forget how fast it really is. And when you begin a season as a coach, even if you've been with your team for a long time, you get exhibition season a little scrambly, a little slower. So the game for me was moving fast. And that's because I'm as rusty can be. But I thought overall it was, for coaching perspective, it was exciting to be back there again. But we've got work to do. I think that's fairly evident. The game allows us a roadmap now. We know where we'll go to begin with tomorrow in practice, and it's evident. You don't have to be a hockey expert to see that some of our entry coverage, some of the D-zone parts of the play have to get fixed. I think penalty kill has been obvious for a little while, but that's what happens when the team's not playing real well. Half the group is saying we got to be better offensively, and we hear it from you, and deservedly so. But then there's the defensive side of it, so we've got to pick one and we've got to get after it. And for me, that's on the defensive side after what I saw tonight.
What parts of the game were encouraging to you?
Well, you talk about spirit. Nobody wants to be 5 down heading into the third period. I've been on that side of the coin for multiple times throughout my career, and it has a better chance of getting to 7 than it does 5-2. So there's a fight that the players maintained and instilled. There wasn't a lot of pouting on the bench, so those are good signs. I thought the power play was dangerous, had multiple chances to score, finally got one, and there was some movement and pace to it. It looked different. Patrick Kane was on the other side. Tarasenko was on the other side. There was something different about it, which was nice. I actually thought offensively we created, some opportunities. We didn't create 6 goals worth, and that's what we needed tonight to win a game. So we'll focus on the defensive side starting tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
When it comes to the defending the injuries, how much of that is discipline versus schematic thing? Like, how do you start attacking it?
Well, I think right now, I would call the group kind of mechanical. And you can't play that way. Your systems and your structure allow you to get to places, but then you have to play hockey. You have to rely on instincts. And it's like, somebody's chasing somebody. Okay, well, now I got to hand them off and get to the middle of the rink. Well, that's what coaches teach. But if you're engaged with the player, finish the play. And I see us being mechanical. I see us being tentative. I see us leaving our feet a lot. The second goal or third goal, I don't know if it was Edmondson, trying so hard to block a shot, almost play like goal. But if you don't do it and get it done, then you leave a mess all over the place. So we have work to do. We have a roadmap now. Nobody's happy about losing, but we'll get after it tomorrow in practice.
Is there anything you can do to speed that up? Because you mentioned usually coaches will have some exhibition games and the results don't matter as a buffer zone. Really,
well, we have to pick our poison and really go after it. Like when you head into a training camp or even with a new team, you know you have 3 weeks. You kind of lay out in the summer. You lay out, okay, we're going to start with offensive attack, forechecks, ozone play. We have to prioritize certain areas of our game, and that's where we'll focus. Some other areas will get neglected. Hopefully we can maintain or at least push a little bit in those areas to get better. But we'll pick what we think we need to do and try and improve in those areas to begin with, starting as early as tomorrow.
How deflating was the goal at the end of the second, especially since it was set up by an icing that really didn't have to happen? It takes one more stride over the...
Yeah, there's a lot of... you think about tonight, we, with the team and the group has been through, and we give up a goal on the first shot, and that can be deflating. Obviously, you're hoping for a good start, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0. Not that the start was poor, but we just get scored on. And then real poor game management skills there at the end, but I think the score was 4 already at that point. Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. It really does. And maybe the icing was disappointing, but even more disappointing was how we handled the one face-off after that. And the lack of communication for those 7 seconds, and it's in our net. And I know this group's better than that. They went out in the third period and had the exact same face-off twice and handled it perfectly. So lapses, mental lapses, details, things we need to improve on.
You look pretty active on the bench, walking back there on the back corner here.
Sorry?
No, you're all good. You look pretty active on the bench. Is that how much of that is just kind of how you are on the bench, and how much was specific to the situation?
Well, I want them to understand who I am, and that's why I'm here. I'm supposed to be trying to help them. Sometimes I had to bark. Sometimes they needed a pat in the back. Sometimes I had to explain what my language was. We started flipping lines around. I wanted to make sure that some individuals knew they weren't getting punished because they were maybe moved down a line or something like that. That's the first thing that happens with the player's mind is that coach doesn't like me. He's dropping me a line. That's not the case. We're trying to find combinations. So it's communication the whole time, and it'll be that way, or at least I hope it'll be that way until we settle in and we learn how we want to play.
Todd, there's always that balance of wanting to switch lines a lot to get something going, but also wanting to keep that chemistry. Where do you stand on that? Are you somebody who likes to experiment in different combinations a lot?
If it's not working, we've got to do something. Like tonight, Valino went up with Larkin and Raymond in the third period, and I thought those legs, the way he skates, helped those two. And we had a little more pace and a little more life on that line in the third. So that was something that worked well. Maybe certain players play at a different pace, and that pace has to be put together. Maybe shooters and puck retrievers have to go together. I don't know who those players are yet. We're really trying to figure that out, and it's going to take some time. So you will see some shuffling. I know the consistency thing comes into play, but until we get to know each other, and we've got to give everybody a fair shake, we may see some of that.
Is it better to play a team, an upper echelon team in the first game rather than somebody who
I don't know if that matters because let's face it, they were playing back-to-back games. In the third period, we were playing against lines 2, 3, and 4 most of the time. Marner and that group weren't out on the ice very much. They knew they played back-to-back, so we didn't get the same. With all due respect to their second, third, and fourth lines, not the same skill level and puck handling, so that benefited us a little bit, but. They're a good team. They've got game breakers. We made mistakes. They took advantage of it. They made some mistakes too. We didn't quite take advantage of it. We missed nets. We fumbled the puck, and that's often a sign of a group of players that trying to do the right things but maybe don't have the confidence they need.
Todd, what's the secret to instilling more consistency in the team?
Well, from a coaching perspective, we want to eliminate a lot of the gray. And I thought coming into our end tonight, we call them sort outs, we call them gaps, whatever language coaches use. There was a lot of indecision, there was a lot of sloppy spacing. When players delayed, there was confusion as to who was going to go. If we can clear that stuff up and work on it, it's not going to happen overnight, but clear some of those things up, I think we'll be better defensively. We'll spend less time in our zone and hopefully get going the other way.
Todd, you moved apart Edmondson and Sider. It was a balance thing, and what did you think of it, what it did for the defensive alignment when you did that?
Yeah, again, they're no different than the forwards. We're trying to figure them out. They were having a tough time. Both tremendous players are going to be players, really good players for a long time. We're well aware of that, but they have a lot to work on and a lot to learn, and we don't want to let them off the hook. And they were having a tough time, not just them, but that whole line was having a tough line against the Marner line. So we thought, why not switch and see what we could get out of them.
We've heard about this team before. They talked about it's a bit of a quiet room. That's been kind of one of the classifications that's been
Of
used.
the-
of the wings room. They've talked
Yeah,
about it.
it's, I can't tell you yet, I can't confirm that. The bench tonight had some energy. There were conversations going on. The iPads, ever since we've introduced them, that's how players think and see and learn and all that type of stuff, but they're used a lot here. I can see guys kind of, the game's going on and they're looking at the iPad, they want to see what went right or what wrong in a shift. Sometimes just pay attention to what's going on the ice too. That's a healthy thing. But that's how today's players wired, and as I said in the morning, we, the coaches, better adapt to what they're doing because there's a lot more of them than us, and that's our job too. So, but as far as vocal and energy and stuff like that, it wasn't any different than some of the other teams I've been on. Now that's one night though, and in a 5-2 loss.